Hello, I'm Polly, the CEO and founder of Horacio Printing, and today I'm going to be peeling back the curtain on how I have sold over 60,000 dream planners around the world. And I'm going to be kind of summarizing that into my 5 keys to selling, especially in the paper product business. So if you already have a paper product business, or maybe you have a dream to start a business, honestly, this advice would go for almost any type of business when it comes to product sales. This is going to be for you, and I cannot wait. So let's dive in. All right, let's do it. Before I start, I do want to let you know about a free resource I have. I have a free workshop that teaches you how to print your thing. So if you've had a beautiful idea in your head, maybe like Melissa, this is Melissa's travel journal. She joined my program called Print School, and she had this beautiful idea to make a little beautiful travel journal. And I actually just used her product because I'm obsessed with it on my trip to Scotland recently. Anyway, so I helped her get this out of her head and into her hands. So if you're like Melissa and you have a dream of something you want to create, I have a free workshop for you, and it teaches you the timeline, the cost, what it takes. So you can check that out, horacioprinting.com/workshop. And I will see you over there. But without further ado, let's dive into sales. So after the product is made, how do you sell it? So a little backstory on me. Like I mentioned before, I've sold over 60,000 dream planners around the world. And that's not including the other products I've sold. I have Bible studies. This is one of my top selling Bible studies, the Seasons of Soap. I also have vision board kits. I've sold subscription boxes. I've done notepads. And a lot of people ask me, well, how did you kind of get started in that? And I will tell you, Horacio Printing, my paper product business, was my side hustle for a year and a half. So I had my full-time job in New York. I was in sales. I was selling advertising, and it was my weekend. I was a weekend warrior. I would work a little in the evenings and on the weekends because I did have a dream that my Saturdays, the time I was working on Horacio, could become my Monday. I could just cry thinking about that. I remember thinking, wow, I can't wait until this Saturday becomes my Monday. So I kept my full-time job, started the dream of Horacio in 2014, and I quit my job in February of 2016. And because of that freedom and working from home and working for myself, I was able to get so much more flexibility when I had my first child in 2018, and then had my second baby in 2021, and have hit huge milestones in my business that I never thought I would hit, like 7-figure business and growing my team, and just really grateful. So beyond the big goals, what's been important to me is helping people pursue their dreams through my products and then also through my trainings. So anyways, that's a little backstory of me. Some people have been asking, when did you get started and how did you know when to quit your job? And I do have an episode on how to know when to quit your job and when to take the leap. So you can check that episode out. I will put a link below in the description. But let's go into the 5 keys to sales. Let's just talk about it, because that was my background before I got into selling planners. And it's in no particular order, but here's the thing, and you might have heard this before. The 3 keys to sale is know, like, and trust. People must know you, people must like you, and then they have to trust you. Typically, you don't buy from people right off the bat if A, you don't know who they are, like you literally haven't seen them ever before in your life. How on earth are you going to know what they sell? If you don't like someone, you're probably not going to buy from them unless you have to. Maybe they have monopolized the market somehow. And then if you don't trust them, why would you buy from them, right? So know, like, trust is huge. And my keys do kind of go alongside with these core principles because they're true today, they were true yesterday, and they're going to be true tomorrow. So the first thing is know. You must be known. And I'm not saying you have to have this giant platform. So many people join print school and they're like, do I have to have this huge platform? No. Will it help you having a huge platform? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie and say like, oh, well, if you have 1 million followers or 0 followers, it makes no difference. Of course it makes difference. It makes a difference. And so you will have to start to grow a platform. You can't grow a huge product-based business without growing an audience of buyers. But there's a way to do it, and there is stepping stones to get there. Everyone starts at the bottom of the staircase. I think we forget that. Everyone starts at the bottom of the staircase. At some point, there is an inception of a dream. And the reason some dreams continue to go and continue to grow is because they don't give up. You know, having the dream and nurturing the dream and maintaining the dream takes different levels of fortitude. And I'm not going to lie and say that that's easy. But I'll tell you what, it's rewarding. It's very rewarding. So the first thing is you must be known. You need to have eyeballs on your products. And so that's why in Launch School, I do teach how to maximize exposure, how to make sure that your product is getting exposure, how to make sure that people are seeing your campaign to garner the early sales you need to get it off the ground. A lot of my students choose to do a Kickstarter campaign. I'm going to show you some videos here on our alumni page of some of our amazing students. I'll just kind of put the video here. You can see they've launched all sorts of different things, different colors, shapes, and sizes. But a lot of them, if you look at the bottom of our alumni page, are Kickstarter campaigns where people are raising money to basically get that product off the ground and get the capital that they need in order to fund their first print, which is one of my favorite hacks, is not spending your own money buying inventory. Sure, we'd love to do print on demand, all of that kind of stuff, but it ends up, I don't know if you've tried any print on demand or looked into it, but sometimes when things are too good to be true, they're too good to be true. They're just too expensive. The quality's not there. I have personally not found a print on demand printer that would work for a paper stop. If you're a paper stop, you're in good company. We're together on that. Okay, so you must be seen. And one of the ways you can be seen is by gathering a VIP list of friends and family, really mining out your existing network. I'm not saying you have to go around being like an MLM and like, hey, you don't have to do that. But there is a way to do it to make sure that you are finding your people, because not everyone even in your network makes sense for your target audience. But the first thing you have to do is go after exposure. And sometimes that takes some gumption. It can take a little bit of getting over the fear of judgment. And so we kind of go through that as well. But that's the first one. Key to sell is you have to put it out there. You have to let it be exposed. And so that's something that in Print School we talk about a lot. And it's a really beautiful community because we're all in the thick of it together. People are going through similar situations, and it's really nice having a group of cheerleaders that are all going through the same thing together. So that's the first one. You must have exposure. There's different ways to do this organically, and there's ways to do it paid. And I teach organic methods. The second thing will go along with liked. It must be liked. How do I become likable? What does that even mean? You must be liked. That feels daunting. That's like, oh, everyone has to like me. It's not that everyone has to like you. Here's my favorite key to being likable, especially if you're selling a product and the product needs to be likable. Guess what the number one key is? Put it in the chat. Let's just guess. What is the number one key? You must like it yourself. You must like it yourself. Create a product you are proud of. If you create a product you're proud of, guess what? It's going to be 100 times easier to sell than if you go create a product off of at a Staples and you're like, I made a thing. Sorry, it's plastic coil and wonky and there's some issues with the printing and the paper's thin. Can you buy it? You're not going to sell well if you don't even like your product. That's really hard. And I know that because I've actually had to sell products that don't exist in my past life. I had to sell products that I used to sell banner ads, okay? Let's just be honest. In a past life of mine, I sold banner ads. Do you guys remember banner ads? It's like the little squares and rectangles that everyone avoids. I had to sell that. Let me tell you, it's hard to sell something, not saying I was terrible at it, but it is hard to sell something that you don't love. It's so much easier when you authentically create something from your own heart and you love it yourself and you are excited about the impact and it has a purpose and it has a calling, and it has heart, it has mission, it has beauty, it has truth. That's how you're likable. When you build something you really care about and you have a real person in mind that you want to help, not just for profit, you'll organically be liked. That's my number one key. You can write that down. Because the ultimate goal of being liked, it's not to be liked just to be liked, right? Like, if you live by the praises of man, you will die by their insults, right? I don't know the perfect quote of that, but like we can't live for people. But in business, being liked is the start of creating a raving fan. And you really want to create raving fans when it comes to a product-based business. That's how businesses stay alive. You don't just want to launch your company, you want to sustain your company and grow your company. And you do that by creating a little army of raving fans, people that like your thing. How do you do that? Well, you create a product that's likable, that's lovable, filled with extra value they didn't even know they're getting. And so by doing that, people can share the word of mouth. They come back and buy. They leave a good review. They order some for Christmas. That's what you want. You must be likable. That's the key to sales. The reason I'm still in business 10 years later is every year I have tons of loyal fans that come back and buy my product and come back and buy my product and come back and buy my product and give it away as gifts. So that's huge. So you must love your own product. It's hard to sell a product you don't love. And then last but not least, trusted. You must be trusted. How do you build trust in a product-based business? Well, think about how you end up buying something. What makes you buy it? That's why influencer marketing is so big, because the influencer is supposed to be a trusted resource. So you build trust in, I'm going to put just 3 ways you can really build trust. The first one is a clean website. If you have a jankety website, and I'm not saying it has to be perfect, because we can spend forever just like tweaking. But if you have a jankety website, people aren't going to buy. I'm not going to buy something through a jankety website. No. So we have to have a clean website. That's a good one. Number 2, beautiful visuals. It's important that your product is photographed in a way that looks professional. This is how you build trust. Photos and videos are huge. And so in launch school, in my program, we had a photographer come in and do a bonus lesson on photography and lay flats and all of that. And I invest in a photographer every year to shoot my next collection, to make sure my website photos are great. Now, it is good to get, really behind the scenes, kind of more scrappy content on Instagram and more realistic. Not everything has to be perfectly aesthetic to sell. Real, honest content is also really, really powerful. But for your website to build trust on your product page, it does need to be legit. It needs to look like a catalog. It needs to look clean. So that's the way you build trust. Number 3 is social proof, user-generated content, reviews of your product. This is how you build trust. And so having automated tools that garner and ask for the review is a really great way to do that. So that's 3 ways. Let's talk about the other 2 ways to sell. The 4th way that is really, really important, especially when you're starting out. So if you don't have a business yet or you don't have your next product yet, this is really important. Number 4 is you really need to know your customer. And this is something you do at the beginning of really starting that business or building out that product. Know, and not just know, but love them, care about them. You have to care about the customer more than you care about the profits, because if not, you're going to lose yourself without a strong enough why to carry you through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. You need to know and to love your customer. Who is she? What does she need? Where does she hang out? That's important because that's where you need to be marketing. What does she want? What's she struggling with? What does she like? All of these things, really getting to know your person is a great step in marketing to her, finding where she is, and also building the product that she really wants. If you don't ever talk to your ideal client, you just go off and build something, well, that isn't what I wanted. That's not the color I wanted. That's not the way I wanted it. You can't listen to every single little voice. You have to listen to a collective voice, like a survey or some sort of focus group. But most likely, your ideal customer is a past version of you. So digging into that is really important. That's a key, and I take my students through that. It's really important to take the time to slow down at the beginning stages and get to know your customer. Number 5, this is important. Ready for number 5? Clear product messaging. Your content needs to be so incredibly clear. We cannot have confusion. A confused buyer doesn't buy. Hear that again. A confused buyer does not buy. That's just it. If there's too many decisions, I don't really know what this is. I don't really know when I would use it. I don't really know how to use it. I don't really know if that's for me. I'm not buying it, right? So why should they care? Who is it for? Why did you make it? What is it? What problem does it solve? How do they incorporate this into their lives? These are all critical questions that need to happen before you go to design. All of this work happens in ideation, and then it's refined in your launch period. And that is all a part of the dream printing method. And that is what I teach. You can go to my free workshop if you really want to get to the nitty-gritty of the dream printing method and then also launching in my workshop, horacioprinting.com/workshop. And if you're like, I want to learn this, I want to do this, I want to sell some stuff, I want to make a difference, I invite you to join Print School. It's a program I created for you. It's got 10 years worth of information and shortcuts simmered down into a beautiful program for you. It is application-based. It's not that we're super picky, it's just we want to make sure that we're aligned and we're a good fit, because we only have so many coaches and so much in there that like capacity in seats to where we want to make sure that we're giving our students the best experience. And in terms of coaches, I'm in every single group coaching call answering the questions. So if you're like, oh, am I going to get time with Polly? Yeah, I'm in there. I'm helping you. I'm supporting you. So that is number 5, clear product messaging. Super important. So back to the 5, to be known, you must be exposed. You have to have exposure on your product. You must be liked, which starts with you liking it. Be trusted. You have to know and love your customer. And number 5, clear product messaging. Those are my 5 keys I would hang my hat on. And as a bonus, one of my favorite bonuses on how to sell, and I have taught this before on the podcast, is creating urgency. There must be urgency around why buy now? I'll buy later. So creating urgency is really important. I do teach how to do that within your launch day, I give my students my simple sales method, my Black Friday toolkit, how to do a holiday sale, and really how to set yourself up for really strong sales, because you want to start off strong right off the gate and build that hype around the launch of your product. So those are my 5 keys. I hope this was helpful for you. I would love to see your application come through for Print School. If you want to go ahead and learn more and apply, go to horacioprinting.com/print school. I cannot wait to see you there, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you on the next episode. We are going through, actually, it's going to be an interview, and then after that interview with an amazing student, I have my 300th episode, and in that, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways to get started on your paper product business. So we'll be bringing in the 300th episode shortly this month. I cannot wait. I hope you have a wonderful day. You are so loved. Bye, guys.